Welcome, welcome. This is your coach, Jerry Thomas Jr. Glad that you are joining us today for our transformed and renewed episode. If this is your first time, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. That way you can stay up to date with the content that we will be sharing. So, again, if this is your first time or you are a returning guest member, make sure you hit that like, subscribe. If you're a member, make sure you share the content because I really appreciate your feedback. So, next week is actually Thanksgiving Day. And I know a lot of people look forward to this time of the year. Some people look forward to being able to meet back up with family or friends and just spend the holiday or the time with them, conversing and just talking about good old times or even just things to come. And then some people actually look forward to just volunteering, giving back within the community. And that is something that I always believe in is giving back to those who may not have as much or just have access to certain resources. And so it's good to give back in that sense. And then there are some who look forward to Thanksgiving for the food. Okay. So some may even go out to the stores, stock up on some Tupperware because they know that there's always food left over. So they have pre-planned this. In actuality, last year they planned for this year, so they are already ready. They have several Tupperwares, even coolers, to load food up. Okay, some people even, pre-plan. Okay, what do I need to wear so I can eat this much, but I can also feel comfortable. It's a lot of different things. If you didn't know any better, you would think that this was normal. Okay, and to some extent, some people look at it as normal, but one thing I do want to share with you is how you can actually stay on track during Thanksgiving Day because I know that there are some individuals who have told themselves, hey, I really want to eat better and I really want to get this weight down, whether it's for a wedding or whether it's just for, a weight loss goal, or even if you're just trying to trim up, look good, just for a change. These are going to be some tips that I believe can really help you because a lot of people are not able to, eat certain things without having that desire to keep going at it again or keep eating it again. And then some people can do it, but they overdo it. Okay. So I want to share some tips with you because again, I've experienced this whole thing. I'm from the South, and so I've seen this whole thing in terms of buffet full of food, so much food that there's leftovers. I've even helped to cook some of this food, okay? So I'm telling you from my experience and insight because I've been that person to where I ate and I couldn't really move and I pretty much regretted why I ate so much I did. And as I grew older, I really didn't like to eat so much and I was like, you know what, I'm just fine with just taking a sample of this or even being mindful of what I select. So to get started, when it comes to Thanksgiving Day, and I'm gonna back up and say before, during, and after Thanksgiving Day, because one thing I will point out is some people may say, well, you know what, I want to skip breakfast because I know that I'm going to eat lunch or whatever we have for Thanksgiving. I'm just trying to save up my appetite for Thanksgiving dinner. And sometimes this doesn't always go well because what you have to realize is if you are accustomed to eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then skipping a meal, you would actually surprise yourself that most people feel that they can store food or more food during Thanksgiving dinner. In actuality, you are just only able to maintain or take in what you can at that present moment. So some people feel like, well, just using calories, say, if you're used to consuming 700 to 800 calories, which is pretty much a lot, on Thanksgiving dinner, you may say, well, I think I can consume double that, but you actually only consume 900, which is still a lot. You have to realize that your body is just not accustomed to that. And some people, they can try to overdo it to where like, oh, I need to eat this, or I need to try this, or try that. Don't hurt yourself, please, people. Please don't do that. Trust me. There are so many people in the world who could benefit from their food, but please don't hurt yourself, okay? Now, again, I can't tell you what to do, but I do want to share some tips that can help you. So that way you don't go into Thanksgiving Day and you eat so much, everybody else is having a good time, and you over there in the corner just contemplating life, thinking, why did I make this decision? Okay. So another thing that I want to point out is the foods. And I hope nobody gets on me about this, but I do have to point out that the way certain foods are prepared, they're already not in your favor, okay? And so you know that when it comes to dressing, I mean, it already is using cornbread. So you have to kind of think about what foods that I really want to eat, especially if you're saying, you know what, I don't really do well with eating foods because I know that I'm gonna keep on eating them for about 2 to 3 days after, maybe 2 days after I'm eating leftovers. And you have to realize that if you have certain goals, then that type of mindset won't allow you to really grow because trust me, I know that sometimes you have food and you're like, man, I gotta eat it, I gotta eat it. But in actuality, you don't. You could just give it away to someone else. That is a part of being disciplined as well as staying on track with your goals. Because most of the times when you think about a lot of Thanksgiving Day foods, heavy carbs, heavy sugar, and then high in fat. Only thing a person may say, well, turkey is high in protein. It is, but you also have to think about how it is prepared. If you have fried turkey, I mean, it's about the same as fried chicken. You're pretty much, incorporating a lot more fat into that turkey. And so, yes, you can get 30 something grams of protein, but think about how much fat you're getting. You're getting roughly about 15 to 20, probably more than that, depending on what part of the turkey you are consuming. Not to mention desserts and, just a lot of other carbs such as macaroni and cheese, if you have that, mashed potatoes, if you have that, the dressing, okay, the cranberry sauce. So I mean, these are just a few of the things, and I haven't even gotten to the greens. So again, these are just some tips for you to keep in mind because again, I know that when you think about all of that food, it's just a delight. Some people just look at it like, man, I'm just in heaven when I think about this food. But you also have to realize discipline, okay? Discipline, okay? I know that in the past I've eaten this much, and now I said that I have a goal. And so you really have to plan, just like you may have planned how much food you want to eat. And you say, you know what, I'm gonna take a Tupperware bowl, I'm gonna do this. You also have to plan to really, eat in such a way that it's gonna help support your goals, okay? That could mean, you know what, instead of getting one full scoop of macaroni and cheese, I'm just going to get a small spoonful, okay, sample size. And again, I'm just sharing some tips with you because at the end of the day, I know that people will eat whatever they want to eat. But if you do that, at least go in with a plan of action versus saying, "Man, I don't know why I did this." But at least think about, okay, if I do decide to eat this, let me think about, okay, the opportunity cost and what will I need to do to offset that. So for example, if you say, you know what, I ate a decent amount of fat, what do I need to do to offset that? Can I, one question is, can I avoid eating some of these foods? Or if I say, well, I can't help myself, then let me think about, okay, what will I need to do to offset that? Okay. So again, these are just some questions that are, good for you to ask yourself, when you're going into Thanksgiving Day. And then even afterwards, when you think about, okay, there's a lot of food left over. Could I give some of this food away? I can pack it up and I can give it away. Or do I want to try to store it in the freezer and try to save it up? Again, a lot of people may, opt for, you know what, I'm just gonna take some Tupperware and I'm just gonna take care of me and my family. We're gonna be eating good. Or do I really want to say, you know what, I don't really need all this food at all. Okay. I can give this to somebody else because I got some goals in mind and I need to stay on track because eating this food is not really gonna help me. It's just gonna push me back further and I'm going to be more annoyed with myself. And again, these are just questions for you to think about, especially if you know that you have been on this track for a while, but you also know that when it comes to certain events, certain holidays, and then your environment, your family, do you feel pressured to eat, certain foods, or do you feel like, you know what, I believe my family would be supportive of me. Trust me, I can tell you that not everybody is on board. They may look at you like you don't want none of this or you ain't eating much. But you also have to think about your goals, okay? You have to think about that. And sometimes it does mean that you have to make some tough decisions. Sometimes that flesh will want to dive into those desserts, okay? But you already know that you don't do well with desserts. If you get one, you know you're just gonna go through the whole line without just trying one small piece and being done with it, okay? So you have to exercise your limits and not go beyond your limits, okay? I know a lot of people get clothing and they say, you know what, let me get some loose clothing so, my belly doesn't expand or my waist, I can feel comfortable when I sit down. But if you're already at that point, then that leads to another question: should I even get to that point when I'm eating? Should I just really take very small portions? Okay, eat that way, and when I feel like I'm semi full, okay, let me stop. Let me drink some water. Okay, and again, Thanksgiving Day, I know that in the States, people love to, think about, okay, got so much food, let's eat, but you also have to be mindful about the food, okay? Just because you have macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, uh, what else? You have greens with uh, ham hocks and neck bones. You have cornbread, have potato salad, the whole 9 yards. And again, when you think about it, all of these are pretty much heavy carbs, fat. Okay. Now, again, I'm not saying that they are. It's destructive to eat these foods, but again, it does come back to your portion size, as well as what have you had for that day, and how have you been eating for that week. Okay. So these are just questions again that I want you, okay, to ask yourself, and hopefully they can help you to make some wiser decisions. Because again, I'm not here to tell you what you need to eat or what you shouldn't eat. I'm not the type of person, okay? I know a lot of people, you can look on social media, wherever, they'll tell you what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat. I'm not going to tell you that, because at the end of the day, you know what you should be eating, okay? I'm just only going to tell you some things that I have found helpful and sharing them with you that can help you with your progress, okay? So, again, I hope that you do enjoy your Thanksgiving Day holiday with your family and friends or whomever you spend it with and however you spend it. But I also want you to be mindful that when you have certain goals, there's also this level of responsibility that you have, because even though Thanksgiving Day is one day, it has caused many people, to be derailed in their goals, okay? And so I don't want you to be that way. I want you to go in with a game plan, okay? And once you have that game plan, you'll realize, like, man, it all just took me asking myself some questions, really thinking about it, contemplating it, and then coming up with some supportive strategies so I can avoid falling into this trap that I know I don't really have the discipline for it. Even have, some family hold you accountable, like, hey, I know you say you didn't want to eat this, so we're not going to share this with you, but we will make something that is going to be healthier. Okay? It's nothing wrong with having healthier versions of Thanksgiving Day meals, and you can do it. But I know a lot of people may not really care for that because of the flavor and stuff like that. But again, I'm telling you from my own experience, you can flavor a lot of foods up and they can taste just as good, but it does require practice, consistency, and discipline. Okay, so I want you to make sure you like and subscribe to this video, because again, I really appreciate your feedback. And if you enjoyed this content, please show me some love, because I really do appreciate it. Okay, so again, I hope that you take these tips, apply them however you see fit, share them with family and friends that you know are on a similar track that you are or have similar goals, and this could be of use to them. I really appreciate that. And last but not least, I hope that you have an amazing Thanksgiving Day week and day. And won't be doing a live recording next week, but I may drop a short video here or there. But stay tuned, and I will see you next time.